Whether it was the trials faced by Marcus Aurelius as an emperor, or the brutal conditions endured by Epictetus, who was born a slave and later crippled, the Stoic mindset was the cornerstone of their resilience. The Stoics didn't deny the pain and suffering of life. Instead, they embraced it as a necessary part of existence, understanding that it was in the face of hardship that true strength was forged. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most revered Stoic philosophers, ruled as emperor at a time of relentless war and political unrest. Yet, despite the immense pressure of ruling an empire, Marcus Aurelius wrote his Meditations, a journal of his reflections and Stoic practice, which still resonates today. In these writings, Marcus reflects on the impermanence of life and how every struggle, whether internal or external, is an opportunity to practice virtue. In his Meditations, Marcus says, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In the face of threats to his rule, betrayal, and the relentless toll of war, Marcus found the key to survival and peace, controlling his mind. The Stoic philosophy teaches that while we cannot control external events, we have the power to shape how we respond to them. This is the ultimate freedom, mastering the mind amidst chaos. Seneca, too, faced hardship, though in a different form. As a statesman, playwright, and philosopher, he found himself at the mercy of Emperor Nero's whims. Eventually, Seneca was forced into exile and later committed suicide under Nero's orders. Yet his Stoic writings offer powerful lessons. Seneca wrote extensively on the fleeting nature of wealth, fame, and power. He advocated for a life lived according to virtue, suggesting that inner peace is the true measure of success. In his letters, Seneca imparts a potent truth. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Seneca reminds us that many of the struggles we face are not as insurmountable as they seem when viewed through the lens of anxiety and fear. The Stoics recognize that we often inflate the challenges before us, and by altering our perception, we can reduce our suffering. Epictetus, born a slave and crippled by the harsh realities of life, is the epitome of Stoic endurance. His philosophy is simple but profound. Control what you can, accept what you cannot. Despite his physical limitations, Epictetus taught that true freedom lies in the mastery of our inner selves. His teachings focus on the importance of accepting hardship with grace and using every experience, no matter how painful, as an opportunity for growth. Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In his life, Epictetus experienced the full spectrum of hardship, from slavery to personal injury. Yet, he remained unshaken, because he understood that external events, however painful, did not have the power to corrupt his soul. The Stoic approach is to turn obstacles into stepping stones, to transform suffering into wisdom. The Stoic pillars, living with virtue in a changing world. The Stoics outlined a path to living virtuously amidst the inevitable suffering of life. Their philosophy revolves around 4 key pillars, each designed to guide individuals through life's unpredictable and often harsh conditions. 1. Wisdom. Wisdom is the pursuit of understanding, of both the world and oneself. To be wise is to see things as they truly are, not as we wish them to be. This means accepting that life is impermanent, that change is inevitable, and that suffering is a part of existence. Wisdom enables one to make decisions that align with nature and virtue, regardless of the challenges faced. Another aspect of control is not letting emotions dictate your financial choices. Stoicism teaches rationality over emotion. When money's on the line, it's easy to get swept up in fear during downturns, or euphoria and greed during booms. A Stoic-minded investor or saver will step back and say, "All right, I'm feeling scared, excited, but let me examine the situation logically." They might journal about what they're feeling, Stoics loved journaling daily to analyze their thoughts, or consult a predetermined plan. The idea is to prevent knee-jerk reactions. For example, if prices are plummeting, instead of, "Oh no, I must sell right now," a Stoic might think, "Markets go up and down. I planned for this." What's the wise action here? By doing this, you become the master of money, not its slave. Money isn't pushing your buttons. You're pushing the buttons based on reason. Overcoming fear of loss. Stoic courage and preparedness. Fear of financial loss is one of the strongest emotions that can control us. It might be fear of losing your job, fear of an investment failing, or just general fear of being poor. The Stoics have a counterintuitive but powerful way to tackle this. Confront the fear head on, in your mind and in practice. This is where Stoic exercises like negative visualization and practicing poverty come in. Negative visualization means deliberately imagining worst-case scenarios in a controlled way. Far from being pessimistic, this actually builds psychological resilience. So you might sit down and imagine, what if I did lose my job? How would I cope? What if I had to live on half my income? What would I cut out? Would I really be miserable, or could I handle it? By visualizing these possibilities, you prepare yourself. If they ever happen, you're not blindsided. In fact, you've already semi-experienced them and figured out you could find a way through. This lessens the fear of the unknown. It also has a side benefit. It makes you appreciate what you have more. When you imagine losing something, you value it more and complain less about it. Seneca took this a step further with an exercise often called practicing poverty or practicing misfortune. He advised, set aside a certain number of days each month to live as if you have very little. Eat the cheapest foods, wear your oldest clothes, sleep on the floor if needed. Then ask yourself, is this what I used to dread? This practice does two things. 1. It proves to you that you can be okay with minimal comforts, that losing luxuries or money isn't the end of the world. And 2. It shatters the fear of poverty, because you realize much of that fear is in your mind. If you spend a couple days living rough, when you know it's temporary and you can return to normal life after, you build confidence that if you had to tighten your belt in real life, you could endure it. When you no longer fear losing it all, you're free to make bold but rational financial decisions. You won't be paralyzed by what if everything goes wrong. You've already started that what if in the face. Stoic courage in finance also means understanding that some losses are inevitable. Investments will dip. Businesses have off years. Accepting this as part of the game of wealth frees you from constant worry. Prepare the best you can through research, diversification, savings buffers, things in your control, and then acknowledge that beyond that, fate will play its part. As the Stoics would say, do your best and let fate do the rest. When we take this pause, we regain control over our emotions, turning potential volatility into an opportunity for growth. Like a river that never rushes, but follows its course steadily and persistently, we too can choose to move through life's challenges with intention and calm. Empathy is another key element that both Taoism and Stoicism encourage. When faced with disrespect, it's easy to become defensive or angry. But if we take a moment to put ourselves in the other person's shoes, we might begin to see the situation differently. Perhaps the person who disrespects us is acting out of their own pain, frustration, or misunderstanding. Like water flowing smoothly around obstacles, empathy helps us move past the negativity and view the situation from a more compassionate perspective. When we do this, we avoid taking the disrespect personally and instead respond with understanding, which can often disarm the negativity and foster better interactions. Mindfulness, as Jung would likely suggest, is an invaluable practice here. It's about creating the space to observe your thoughts without judgment, allowing your unconscious to rise to the surface, and then integrating what you learn. Clarity of mind isn't something you force or achieve overnight. It's a continuous process of listening to yourself, observing your thoughts, and learning to work with them, not against them. Practices like journaling, meditation, or even engaging in creative endeavors are all tools to help you listen to your inner voice, clear away mental fog, and build a deeper connection to your mind and soul. Jung recognized the importance of relationships and human connection in the pursuit of a meaningful life. Unlike the Stoic belief in self-sufficiency and detachment, Jung saw human beings as fundamentally social creatures, interconnected in the vast web of life. He believed that our relationships with others reflect parts of ourselves that we might not fully understand. Meaningful connections are essential to living authentically, as they provide mirrors that help us see ourselves more clearly. Yet, in our modern world, where superficial relationships abound, often mediated through screens and digital devices, we are in danger of becoming disconnected from others in ways that deplete us emotionally. Jung emphasized that true connection isn't about quantity, but about quality. It's about depth, vulnerability, and the willingness to be seen for who we truly are, beyond the roles we play in society. He often spoke of the need for intimacy and authenticity in our relationships. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely, Jung wrote, and this acceptance must extend to the relationships we cultivate. A meaningful connection requires not just opening up to others, but allowing them to see us in our entirety. Our weaknesses, our fears, our hopes, and our dreams. Vulnerability is the gateway to true connection. This isn't just about sharing our most difficult moments. It's about showing up for the people in our lives, being truly present for them, free from distractions, fully engaged in the moment. It's about listening with empathy, not with the intent to respond or fix, but with the intent to understand. Presence is key to building these kinds of meaningful relationships, and it often requires us to put down our devices, to stop multitasking, and to genuinely invest in the moments we share with others. For Jung, purpose wasn't about following a predefined path or fulfilling societal expectations. It was about understanding and expressing the authentic self. He argued that each person's journey was unique and that real fulfillment arises when we live in accordance with our own values, desires, and sense of meaning. Purpose is not something you find, it's something you create. One of Jung's most profound insights was that our deepest pain often contains the seed of our greatest growth and contribution. He believed that struggles and suffering were not to be avoided, but understood as vital aspects of life's transformative journey. The challenge is not to escape pain, but to learn from it, integrate its lessons, and allow it to propel us towards something greater than ourselves.